Good evening, folks. My name is LJ Boo Boo, and this is going to be my first episode of Nickelodesins. Now, this is not going to be like Cinematic Sins or whatever. I'm basically going to watch an episode of the show, any show from Nickelodeon, probably more than Nickelodeon, and I'm going to critique it, basically. I'm going to give my opinion on it, make fun of stuff, blah, 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 whatever. And I am starting with a Halloween-themed episode of Hey Arnold! Hey Arnold. Okay, so the episode is kicking off with Arnold and Gerald, the main character and his best friend. Episode kicks off with Arnold and Gerald watching a special on aliens. And I'm guessing that it's an episodic series because it says tune in next week to find out what happens next week. Or, you know how that goes. Anyway, Oscar is like, I'm eating a bucket of ice cream, man. Yeah, how can you kids watch that stupid stuff? So, the show that comes on after that is a UFO show. Oh my goodness. 2 UFO shows. I wonder what this episode is going to be about. Anyway, the adults seem more interested in this one because, it had some guy named Douglas Kane. So it's based on Orson Welles, who was a radio host who did a Invasion of Mars broadcast on his radio. And it was a story that people believed. And yeah, people are crazy. All right, so basically Grandpa comes in, shuts the TV off. Okay, everyone, we need to plan the Halloween party. And Arnold's like, hey, Grandpa, can me and Gerald help this year? He's like, no. Halloween's serious business and not for kids. Get it, because Halloween is kind of for kids. You get it. Anyway, they're walking away. Mr. Wynn and Ernie are arguing about who's going to play Frankenstein at the party. And Gerald says, so are we going to do the regular stuff this year? And Arnold's like, no, I think this year the grown-ups need a good scare. Something involving aliens. Ooh, I knew it. I told you as soon as the second alien show popped up, it was going to be about aliens. Okay, back to the show. Wait a minute. Why is Mr. Green, the butcher, Harvey, the mailman, and Bob, the Beeper King, playing poker? Huh? What is the connection with those three? Plot. Oh, and by the way, those three are very interested in the UFO show as well. I wonder what will happen. I can't wait. It's not predictable at all. Okay, so a joke in this show, which isn't really a joke, it's like really terrible, that Bob and wife, whatever her name was, Mary had a little lamb. They call Helga Olga. And if you don't know, Olga is Helga's older sister, and they always call her that, and she always gets annoyed by it. And now she's really annoyed by it. So, there's her excuse to do whatever the plot is for the episode. Whatever that is. I think they're gonna bake cookies or something. Now, okay, so the guy Douglas Kane is doing the show, but he's got his script like right here in front of him. Like, see, I'm looking at the camera, then I'm looking at my script, then I'm looking at the camera because I can't afford to hire someone to hold up cue cards. Okay, okay, because I don't know if they had the projectors or not, and I can't afford someone to do that either because, this show is done in my mom's basement. Okay, so Harvey the mailman and Mr. Green are like, this guy's a moron. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And Harvey's like, yeah, it's all fake, man. And Bob's like, no, guys, it's real. It's real. This guy's an expert. He knows what he's talking about. He's not just trying to make a TV show and make money. He's been to Mars, and he's been to your rectum. That's the Futurama joke. Mars Vegas. Okay. Anyway, back to the whatever you call this episode. Okay, so apparently the reason Big Bob believes this Douglas King guy is because he once had an encounter himself. He goes, I once had an encounter. And his wife is like, oh, Bob, don't start again. Don't embarrass me. I'm too hungover because, the conspiracy about her, if you're a Hey Arnold fan, is that she's a boozer. She has issues with alcohol, and her smoothies are just like margaritas or whatever. This show is very depressing. Anyway, back to the special. Okay, so all the kids are getting together, talking about what they're all going to go as, because no one wants to go as something by themselves, apparently. Um, Curly, well, Helga is in front of everyone. She's got a picture of aliens. She's like, we're all going to dress like this. And I think that's her dad's poster of aliens that he was showing to Mr. Green and Harvey. Um, and anyway, she's like, yeah, we're all going to dress like this. And Curly's like, oh, let's go with pirates. And Harold is like, no, let's go as Vikings. And then Phoebe is like, what about clowns? Yeah. And she's like, no, we're going as aliens because we're going to scare people. And blah, blah, blah. Anyway. Okay. So Helga is telling everyone, hey, you get the fabric, you get the foil, you get face paint. Pink. Did I say pink? You get face paint. Um, you get the face paint. Anyway, and then she asked Harold and Arnold, Gerald and Arnold, if they are in or out. And Arnold's like, nah, we got our own stuff we're doing. Y'all go ahead. But hey, you can come by my house. We're having a party. So his plan is, since they're going as aliens, it's going to be like a real life alien invasion, not thinking about the consequences because when you're 9, you don't really think about consequences, do you? Okay, so Helga's dressed up as an alien. She's asking her dad to look at her costume to get an opinion. But he's too busy looking at sports scores, or football in particular, because he bet it on football and he wants to know how much he lost. And I gotta say, that's confidence 101 right there. Like, I know my team didn't do good. Let's see how much money I owe. Um, but he takes a glance at it, and apparently he doesn't remember later on. If you've seen this episode, you know. Um, anyway, they showed kids going around trick or treating, and Grandpa's dressed as a ghoul or whatever. They got a scarecrow on their door, which is weird. So, anyway, let's continue. Wow. Grandpa has worms and cockroaches in a bowl, and he scares off the kids. I mean, that's a good way to, get your house, vandalized. Okay, so apparently no one won the argument between Ernie and Mr. Wynn, so both of them dressed up as Frankenstein. Technically, Frankenstein's monster, but anyway, you know. So Arnold and Gerald are doing a fake broadcast to announce aliens have invaded. They have not told Helga and company about this plan. So when Helga shows up with everyone, they're expecting Arnold and Gerald to be there at the party. They're expecting to have a good time like you do at a party, but instead they're going to end up getting chased at, chased after, yelled at, and possibly worse. I mean, what's going to happen? I don't know. Oh dear. Oh no. So instead of just having to explain to Grandpa and the boarders and everyone they invited to the party that this was just a prank, the broadcast is going out to a local radio station, and everyone in town is able to pick it up. Oh man, this is going to cause some chaos, I think. So, just as you would think, Helga and company knock on the door. Grandpa answers and they go, "Trick or treat." And they all look very depressed and angry. And everyone starts panicking. Ernie gets his sledgehammer and chases the kids off. I mean, it's not funny if it was like real kids, but I mean, it's a cartoon. It's hilarious. So Bob turns on the TV and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna watch the Wheel of Fortune," and it's interrupted by Douglas Kane, who is talking about the fake alien invasion that his assistant has caught on film. Oh no, now Bob thinks there's aliens. And what's funny is before they show the video on the TV, soon as he hears, "We interrupt this broadcast to bring you this. Aliens have invaded." And Bob's like, "Yeah, I knew something was going to happen tonight." Just plain as day, like, "Yeah, I knew something was going on today." Anyway, so they put lights on the water tower. Now, where. Ay, I'm confused. No one's going to be like, that's the water tower. It just has lights on it. Everyone's freaking out. And they're like, oh, it's got to be aliens. But Stinky somehow got left out of everyone's plan. I don't know why, but he's just waiting by the water tower to plug the lights in on Arnold and Gerald's cue. Poor Stinky, always getting left out of everything and bossed around. Okay, because of how everything was hooked up to the water tower, all the electricity in town has gone out. It must have been aliens, because that's what I think whenever the electricity goes out. So Arnold and Harold so Arnold and Gerald come clean to Phil and say, hey, it was just us. It was a prank. And Grandpa's like, how'd you convince Douglas Kane? He's on TV talking about it. And he's, got the whole town worked up. And now Helga and the gang have an angry mob after them because everybody in town thinks this is a real occurrence and not just kids dressed up in costumes. This is very, very, I don't know what it is. So Arnold's grandma is dressed up and going, I don't even know if she knows what's really going on, but she's dressed up in her combat outfit or whatever. If you know this show, you know she's like always dressed up trying to go do something and be a hero, even at 90 or whatever she is. Anyway, Grandpa's like, hey, you gotta be careful. It's a crazy night. She's like, I'm not gonna be careful. I love danger. So yeah, she's a little crazy. They just said on the radio that beepers are jammed. Beepers are jammed. And guess who heard that? Big Bob Beeper King. And now he's mad. It's like, okay, aliens may have invaded, but I don't care unless they touch the vapors. They touched the vapors. Now it's time for me to be a man. So the mob has Helga and the rest of the kids cornered. And Helga's like, we're not aliens. We're just kids. And Miss Wen's like, yeah, that's what all the aliens say. Let's get them. Okay, so Bob has a Hummer and he's like driving recklessly through town like everyone with a Hummer does, right? I mean, I guess that's the joke. Anyway, he calls Harvey the mailman and he's like, ha, you guys laughed at me. But now it's time to go kick their butt. You in? And he's like, yeah, sure, why not? All right, you and the butcher meet me over here, and I'll pick you up, and then we're gonna go beat up the aliens. Let's go. It's personal. They touched the beepers, man. So Mr. Warts, he's the principal of the elementary school where Arnold and everyone goes to school. They see him carrying gifts around and he's wanting to surrender to the aliens. Like, here's some candy, here's some nylons. Okay. And Bob and company pick him up and they're like, hey, what do you think you're doing? We're not going to surrender. we're going to kick their butt, man. Because you know why? You know why? They touched our beepers. So they pick up warts, they threaten them, and he's like, yeah, okay, I'm on your side now. Go humans, go. And Bob's like, yeah. Why don't you just shut up for a minute? Okay, so Helga and the kids are running up a hill to the water tower, and Stinky's walking down the hill. And they bump into each other, and Stinky's like, hey, how y'all doing? Y'all having fun? Because, he's a stereotypical hillbilly character. And Helga's like, no, we're being chased by an angry mob, but yeah, okay. And he's like, oh, gee, I reckon that's the count of me and Harold, or why do I keep saying Harold? Me and Gerald and Arnold, we played a prank on the radio telling people you were real live aliens. And yeah, that's not gonna go over well with Helga and the kids. Okay, so another joke in the show they just did, and I kind of forgot about. Arnold would do something, and it would involve Helga, and Helga would get upset and yell, Arnold! Okay, she doesn't sound like that, but anyway, Arnold would be like, either Arnold or Gerald or whoever he's with would be like, did you hear something? The other person would be like, no. Okay, so they're attacking Stinky. I mean, it wasn't really his fault. It wasn't his idea, but they're attacking him anyway because I guess he's the, you know, he's the one that takes the beatings, I guess. So Bob is apparently being MacGyver here with beepers and an egg timer, and he's telling Harvey this while Mr. Green is tying up Principal Warts in the middle of the forest. Why are you tying Mr. Warts up? So the Douglas King guy is up at the water tower and he's doing his report. He's like, I might be the last living award-winning reporter alive and blah blah blah. Anyway, you see the kids chasing Stinky. Bob's up there. He tackles Helga. He's got her by the head, and Helga's pleading with him. And he's like, huh, you sound like Helga. He actually said Helga. But this has got to be an alien mind trick. Aliens are taking over my mind. I'll make you pay for this. Urgh. And Douglas Kane is like, this is astonishing. A big hulking man is gonna get the alien leader and wring their neck. But he doesn't have her by the neck, he has her by the head. So, I mean, unless an alien's neck is up here, which I don't think it is. I'm no expert on aliens, so someone may have to correct me on that. Okay, so Helga, or Bob's got her by the head, and Arnold comes up. He's like, no, Mr. Pataki, that's really Helga. He's like, I'm saving the world, kid. And Harvey's like, that's the signal. So they cut the rope. The beepers go flying, the egg timer. They hit the water tower, and the water tower bust. So yeah, deal with that. So the water comes out, revealing that the alien thing was a hoax. And Bob is like, oh my god, I almost killed my daughter. How could I do this? I'm a monster. Okay, so Grandma, what's her name? Pookie is what Grandpa Phil is always calling her. She's fixing the electricity so everyone gets their power back. And Douglas Kane is like, oh, but this is a hoax, and I can assure you that And then Big Bob grabs his mic. He's like, you're a windbag. Let's all go home and get some sleep. And everyone's like cheering, and Arnold's like, oh, I'll never do a prank like that again. And Grandpa's like, you almost caused the end of the world. I'm proud of you. And it ends with Grandma on top of the water tower. Happy Halloween, everybody. Anyway, this is, I can't remember really ever seeing this episode, to be honest with you. And I thought it was pretty good. It's pretty well done. And I definitely would watch it next Halloween. It has some funny moments in it. Have a good Halloween. Thank you for watching. Bye. Happy Halloween.